The sound echoed down the long marble hallway. Smack. The slap was sharp, sudden, and loud enough to make nearby conversations stop instantly. A cleaning cart rattled as a man staggered half a step backward, gripping the handle to steady himself. The janitor didn't fall. He didn't shout. He didn't raise his hands. He just stood there. A well-dressed woman lowered her arms slowly, her face tight with anger and entitlement. "Watch where you're going," she snapped. "People like you are always in the way." Several employees froze. A few guests turned their heads. Someone instinctively reached for their phone. The janitor said nothing. If you believe silence can be more powerful than anger, stay until the end of this story. His name was Daniel Carter. He was 58 years old. For nearly 20 years, Daniel had worked as a janitor in the same office building. He arrived before sunrise and left after most people were already home. He cleaned floors no one noticed, fixed small problems no one reported, and avoided eye contact, not because he was ashamed, but because he knew invisibility made the job easier. That morning had been no different. Daniel had been mopping the hallway outside a conference room when the woman stormed out, phone pressed to her ear, heels striking the floor in rapid steps. She turned too quickly. Their shoulders brushed. That was all it took. "What is wrong with you?" she snapped, spinning around. "Do you have any idea how important this meeting is?" Daniel opened his mouth to apologize. He didn't get the chance. Smack. The slap landed before the word sorry could leave his lips. The hallway went silent. Daniel felt the sting burn across his cheek, but he kept his hands down. He had learned long ago that reacting often made things worse. He began softly. "Save it," she interrupted. "Just do your job." She turned and walked away as if nothing had happened. Daniel stood still for a moment longer, then bent down and adjusted the fallen mop bucket. He finished cleaning the hallway. Because dignity doesn't demand attention. It survives without witnesses. What the woman didn't know was that this building had recently upgraded its security system. Cameras lined the hallways. Not obvious, not intrusive, but always watching. Later that afternoon, Daniel was called into the facilities office. The supervisor didn't look angry. He looked uncomfortable. "Daniel," he said carefully, "we need to ask you something." Daniel nodded. "Did something happen this morning on the 3rd floor?" Daniel hesitated for a second. "Yes," he answered quietly. The supervisor turned the monitor toward him and pressed play. There it was, the hallway, the brush of shoulders, the raised hand, the slap. The room was silent as the footage played again from a different angle. Daniel didn't say a word. "We just wanted to confirm," the supervisor said. "You did nothing wrong." Within an hour, the incident had reached building management. And then, corporate. The woman, whose name carried weight in that building, was summoned later that day. She arrived confident, impatient. "This is a misunderstanding," she said before anyone finished speaking. The screen turned on. The footage didn't argue. It didn't exaggerate. It didn't lie. Her hand, Daniel's stillness, the silence afterward. She watched herself strike a man who never fought back. No shouting, no provocation, just power used carelessly. The room felt smaller. By the end of the meeting, decisions had already been made. She was asked to leave the building immediately. Her access badge was revoked pending investigation. No dramatic scene, no raised voices, just consequences. Daniel returned to work the next day like he always did. Same uniform, same quiet steps. But something had changed. People looked at him differently, not with pity, with respect. A few days later, the supervisor stopped him in the hallway. "Daniel," he said, "we want to thank you for how you handled that situation." Daniel nodded politely. "I didn't do anything special," he replied. That was the truth. He hadn't yelled. He hadn't demanded justice. He had simply stood still long enough for the truth to catch up. The cameras didn't lie, and silence didn't fail him. If you believe dignity speaks louder than aggression, share this story and leave your thoughts below.